Welcome into Steelers Talk, Yinzers. I am your host, Jack Sperry. Today, we're going to be going over Mel Kiper Jr.'s NFL Mock Draft 3.0 that just dropped this morning as a very interesting pick for the Steelers at number 17 overall. But before we get into this mock draft today, I want to extend an invitation for you to join me and producer Chugs on Steelers Talk Live tomorrow, starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 Central here in Dallas, Texas, where you're going to have an opportunity to win a Color Rush Kenny Pickett jersey. We're going to be doing a raffle. We're going to have raffle tickets for you to buy via Super Chat. So if you want to win a Kenny Pickett jersey, this is what you got to do. You got to tune in to tomorrow's live show, again, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you have to be subscribed to be eligible to win. So if you want a chance to win that Kenny Pickett jersey, you got to subscribe right now, and you got to tune in to Steelers Talk Live tomorrow afternoon. Can't wait to see you guys there. We're going to get into this Mel Kiper Jr. mock draft here, and it was very interesting to me because usually I'm not a Mel Kiper Jr. kind of guy, but I thought that this time around his mock draft was actually pretty decent. Number one overall, he has the Carolina Panthers taking C.J. Stroud, quarterback out of Ohio State. Then he's got Bryce Young going to the Texans, 1-2. Not super surprising there. That's kind of what people are expecting right now. But then he has a trade there at number 3 with the Colts trading up for Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. Will Anderson Jr. going to the Cardinals at 4. Then he's got the Seattle Seahawks taking Anthony Richardson, the project quarterback out of Florida. Then you got Jalen Carter going number 6 overall to the Lions. And I'm not sure if he's going to. If the Lions are going to take a guy like Jalen Carter at number 6 overall, I think he's going to drop a little bit more than that. Then you got Christian Gonzalez, my number 1 cornerback, going to the Raiders at number 7. You got Devin Witherspoon, another great corner from Illinois, going to the Atlanta Falcons at number 8. Then you got Paris Johnson Jr., Ohio State offensive tackle, going to the Bears. First one off the board, going ahead of Peter Skoronski, going to the Eagles at number 10. Then you got Tyree Wilson, really powerful edge rusher out of Texas Tech, going to the Tennessee Titans. Nolan Smith, someone that is an absolute freak of nature from the edge rusher position, outside linebacker, going to the Texans. Then Broderick Jones, the guy I want the Steelers to take in round 1, going to the Jets at number 13. Joey Porter Jr., a fan favorite of many Steelers fans out there, going to the Patriots at number 14. Lucas Van Ness, the edge rusher out of Iowa, going to the Packers. And then Emmanuel Forbes, the slight but very, very talented cornerback out of Mississippi State, going to the Commanders at 16. So before I reveal what he has the Steelers taking at number 17, go ahead and tell me right now, who goes number 1? I want to know your guys' answers to this because it's all over the map. Will Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud be the pick for the Carolina Panthers, number 1 overall in this year's NFL draft? Type BY if you think Bryce Young, or type CS if you think C.J. Stroud. This is the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to hit you with an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. So when that happens, go down to the comment section, find that pinned comment, and answer today's question. For me, I'm going to go with Bryce Young because I really think that he is the most talented and dynamic talent here in this draft class that's not super risky like a Will Levis or an Anthony Richardson. I think when you compile all of the traits, all the variables, Bryce Young is that guy in this year's draft class. And with the 17th overall pick in Mel Kiper Jr.'s NFL Mock Draft 3.0, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Deonte Banks, the cornerback out of the University of Maryland, the Terrapin, man. I think that Deonte Banks, I think he's a really good player, man. I think you take a look at what he's got. At Maryland, he was listed at 6'2", 205. He weighed in, or he came in at 6 foot, 197 pounds at the combine. Runs like a deer, man. Sub 4'4" guy. He's got good strength. He plays physical. He plays physical at the catch point. I think that this guy's a really good player. But this is what Mel Kiper Jr. had to say about the selection. Cam Sutton is out. Veteran Patrick Peterson is in, but Pittsburgh's biggest need hasn't changed. It has to get younger and faster at cornerback. Banks matched Forbes' 40-yard dash time, 4.35 at the combine, and he did it 31 pounds heavier, though he measured 6 foot 2 inches shorter than he was listed in college. I love that little note from Kiper there. Then he goes on to say his 2022 tape is one of the best I've seen in this class in terms of man coverage. He can shut down an entire side of the field. He's a fit for Mike Tomlin's defense. Now, before I get into what I think about Deonte Banks and this selection, here are some of the players that Kiper had the Steelers passing on here at number 17 overall. Darnell Wright, somebody that's probably going to be a right tackle or a guard, really good player coming out of Tennessee. He has the Steelers passing on him. Then Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, and Jordan Addison, the three receivers that they had formal interviews with in Indianapolis at the NFL Combine, has him passing on all three of those guys. And then Brian Branch, somebody that I think is definitely going to be a Steelers draft target in the first round. He doesn't even have Branch going in the first round. And, you know, with Mel Kiper Jr. mock drafts, there's always a couple head scratchers. Brian Branch not being a first rounder is that head scratcher for me. So coming up here, I'm going to be giving my take on the Deonte Banks pick. I'm going to be giving you my full scouting report, his pros, his cons, and whether or not the Steelers should consider drafting him. But first, I want to let you guys know that, you know, spring has sprung. The spring season is finally here, which means that some of the winter gear on our Chat Sports website here for the Steelers is going on sale. So if you want some really high quality, good winter gear here, some nice windbreakers. You got a scarf and men's. We got a hat up there. We got a bunch of great winter gear. So if you want to load up on this kind of stuff, go to chatsports.com/Steelers sale right now. All these great items. You got some fuzzy socks on there. My mom would absolutely love those. She completely adores her fuzzy socks, man. But there's some really great winter items on our website. So if you want to get some really high quality stuff at some good prices, go to chatsports.com/Steelers sale to get some Steelers apparel today. So for me, I love this selection from Mel Kiper Jr., especially because you look at the guys that have gone, right? Joey Porter Jr. is off the board. Christian Gonzalez is off the board. All three of the top offensive tackles are on the board. And you look at what Banks can bring to the table here. I think he's a really good player, man. He's got great size at 6 foot, 197 pounds, which is what he weighed in and came into at the Combine. And he's got great speed at that size, too, as well. Same speed as Emmanuel Forbes, but he's doing it at over 30 pounds heavier, man. That's saying something. This guy's an athletic freak. He's got good hip fluidity, maybe not great hip fluidity in terms of change of direction, all these different things, flipping his hips in zone coverage. I still think it's really, really good, but where this guy stands out is press man coverage. I think that he's a fantastic player in that regard. He's very physical, and I think that he's going to be a really good player, but his cons is pretty much zone coverage instincts. He can be a bit slow to read the quarterback's eyes and see where he's going with the football. He can get a little bit grabby at times. He had some penalties in his time in Maryland. And then another thing that some people point to is that he wasn't an every down starter for Maryland his entire career, which is definitely weird because he's a really excellent talent. I think that the Terrapins really didn't use his skill set fully, to be honest with you. I think the Terrapins really didn't do a good job at utilizing his skill set, and I think that once he gets with the right people in the NFL, he's going to be a really good player. And at the end of the day, he's an excellent prospect, in my opinion, right up there with those top three guys with Christian Gonzalez, Devin Witherspoon, and Joey Porter. And the thing about Deonte Banks is that he is a great fit for what the Steelers want to do and have in their number one cornerback. You take a look at my top 5 cornerback prospects right now. I think that Christian Gonzalez is that number one dude in this year's draft class. Devin Witherspoon is right behind him, probably has the best film out of anybody in this draft class. And then I really hold Joey Porter Jr. and Deonte Banks in the same regard, where they're both a little bit rough around the edges. They still have a little bit to work on in their game, but they're both excellent prospects that can really turn into true lockdown number one cornerbacks in the National Football League. And then I also like Emmanuel Forbes as well, even though he's 30 pounds lighter than Deonte Banks. He plays with great instincts. He has great ball skills. He had a bunch of interceptions last year. I really think that these top 5 guys are the cream of the crop when it comes to Steelers cornerback prospects and targets in this year's NFL draft class. But go ahead and go into the comments section for me right now and grade Mel Kiper Jr.'s pick of Deonte Banks here in the first round. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know with a grade here, A, B, C, D, or F. For me, I'm going to give it an A. But here's the thing, guys. I don't think that the Steelers are really going to be looking to take a cornerback on day one of the NFL draft. I think that based on everything that they've been doing in terms of draft meetings, in terms of who they met with at the Combine, I think that the Steelers are more looking towards cornerback being a day 2 pick, because this is such a deep cornerback class, guys. So these are the guys that they met with at the Combine in Indianapolis. Joey Porter Jr. is really that only guy that at the time was considered a bona fide first-round pick. And then Deonte Banks, Emmanuel Forbes, Cam Smith, Kelly Ringo, Clark Phillips, and then some more guys here. Eli Ricks, Jalen Jones out of Texas A&M, Garrett Williams, Darius Rush, the other cornerback from South Carolina, and Julius Brents. Here's the thing about this, guys. All these guys are expected to go day 2, right? The only guy that they really talked to at the Combine was Joey Porter Jr. That's the only round 1 guy that they, at the time, that they were talking to. So that tells me that because this is such a deep cornerback class, the Pittsburgh Steelers think that they can get some really good value at the position on day 2. And because of that, I think that there's a really, really good chance that they look towards other positions to address on day 1. But predict for me right now in the comment section, because I know a lot of you want the Steelers to draft a cornerback in round 1. Predict for me what the Steelers are going to do on night 1 of the NFL draft, or where they're going to go with at the cornerback position. Type 1 if you think they're going to take a corner day 1, or type 2 if you think they're going to take one on day 2. So I think instead of a cornerback, guys, I think that these are the guys that they're going to be targeting. Offensive tackle, they might go safety there with Brian Branch if he's there, if they really like him. They could go Jalen Carter if he falls. And then there's a couple wide receivers that they talk to. I don't think they would add Zay Flowers just because he's pretty similar to Calvin Austin III. But I think that Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, a couple of slightly bigger guys to put in the slot would be a couple players that they would consider. Nolan Smith, if he falls to number 17, he's an athletic freak. I think Mike Tomlin would really think about taking him. Lucas Van Ness, Mike Tomlin and the Steelers brass was at the Iowa Pro Day the other day. And same thing with Myles Murphy there with Clemson. Mike Tomlin really likes his Clemson guys. They went to the Clemson Pro Day. They actually had dinner with Trenton Simpson, not Myles Murphy. But I think that if they take Simpson, it'll be on day 2, not day 1. But Myles Murphy is still a possibility there on day 1. And before I go here, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. But I want to give some shout outs to the people that shared yesterday's video on Twitter. I promised you guys if you shared yesterday's video on Twitter, I would give you a retweet and a shout out. So here are your shout outs for the day. Jay Shorb, Dom Schrader, friend of the show. Appreciate you, my guy. Mason Haller, I hope I'm saying that right. Stoy, Ja Esse. Then you got DJ Harrell, Kyle Doherty, Kevin Cassell, and Dawson Bird. I really do appreciate you guys. And if you want a shout out on tomorrow's Steelers Talk Live show, all you have to do is go to Twitter, type in @Jack_Sperry, and click that follow button. I appreciate you, Steeler Nation. I will see you tomorrow for Steelers Talk Live. Peace.